All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
We've seized up my camera. I'm not sure what happened to my camera. And I'm ringing. Hang on. I'm fixing problems here.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Bob.
There we go. I think those are two problems that are fixed. Should be able to hear me relatively well now. Where is this line going? I wonder these things all the time. That's my auxiliary. I shouldn't need to worry about that at all.
You shouldn't be touching your aux cord.
Well, I'm actually trying to. So I got into my meeting this morning and they couldn't hear me at all.
Uh-oh.
And so I was adjusting the microphone and stuff like that to turn up everything. And it turned out to be Microsoft's noise cancellation because the audio was coming through both my my line in and was coming through the secondary as well. So it was like canceling the noise out because only one thing through at a time.
Uh-oh.
So, and of course, Microsoft Teams has two apps, and both of them were taking the audio from my board, and then both of them were going through the system. At which time Microsoft canceled the noise because it was getting double noise. So I'm like, well, who designed this stuff? So I'm going to readjust my board. And actually, I had meant to bring the board over here so that it was under this part. You can't see it because my camera is frozen for reasons. Why is my camera frozen?
Uh-oh.
There we go. My camera is not frozen anymore. Anyway, so it's right here now. My board is right here so that I can get to it. So this is morning today for me.
That's good. Morning's good sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little rough.
It can be. I feel that.
Yeah. But I have control of the board now. Hi, Dashobi. Dashibi? Dashui.
Oh, is this something new?
We got something new. Haha, I have found this. Chord management. Everybody's going to be so proud of me. I'm managing my chords. Okay. Whew. It was a lot of work to get to this point. Right here. That's all I want. That's all I wanted was to get to this point right here. Is that so much to ask? Okay.
It is.
Apparently, it's so much to ask. Okay, SharePoint. Now I have control of everything again. Now we can get back to work. Oh, we've got to start all over because we've got a new picture to do today.
Oh yeah.
Because we finished 8
Illustration.
last night, or 7
Yeah.
last night. So we are on to picture 8.
Or not 8.
We are on, yeah, I know, Microsoft Teams. Now it looks like, though, I'm going to have a new job, which is to go around and film segments of the company's video newsletter, which is kick butt. I love this plan. All right. So we're done with illustration. Seven. And Ron is super, super happy with 7. His statement was, illustration 7 is truly awesome, as have been all the previous pieces. You have such a great feel for those characters of Nancy's. Thank you so much. Only 2 more to go. And then we can talk cover. Ugh, cover. I'm so intimidated by covers. I hate doing book covers.
Why?
So intimidating. I mean, not bad. Just intimidating, right?
I know, but why? Can you accurately sum up the reason why you're fearful of them in words?
The reason why we are here?
No, can you accurately sum up the reason why they are intimidating in words?
Oh, covers? Because you know darn well that that's the impact that's going to happen. People are going to pick up the book because of covers. So there's a lot of weight on that. Like there's a lot of a book cover is, especially with the way that Ron does it, when he puts the books out on the table, you know, people are walking by the table, let's say at a convention, and they're looking at the covers of these books and saying, "Oh, I like that one," or "I like that one," and stuff. So it's very intimidating to me because I always get into that thinking, you know, okay, I want this to be striking. I want people to look at it and go, "Oh, hey, I like that book. I want to read that book," you know, sort of thing. So
Now I'm scared.
you're just kidding?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Now you made me intimidated by covers.
Right now, if you do book covers, they're intimidating too.
Lord.
I have the same problem. That's illustration 9. Where's illustration 8? I have the same problem with my own covers for my own comics. Okay, wait. Okay, where's? Mm-hmm. You're responsible for making it catch the eye and drawing people in. You know, and I mean, you know, legitimately, I've done now 2 covers for Airship 27 because I did Silver Pentacle 1, and I also did another cover for a different book, which was they just needed a cover quick, and so they assigned me the cover, and I did it in about 3 days. It's just intimidating. I don't know. I have a lot of intimidation function going on there. I don't know.
Now I hope I don't fail Kane.
Right?
I'm gonna cry.
Yep. Can't help you, man. Where are my notes? Whew. I mean, legitimately, Jacqueline Carey wrote a book or writes a book series called the QuACk series. And I literally picked up the book because of the cover. Because it was on the shelf and they put the main character is Phaedra and she has a rose tattoo on her back and they have her, covering her chest but looking down. And it's a painting with this rose tattoo along her back and they put it on the spine of the book. And so you've got all these spines that are just words, 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 and then this lovely painting of this woman with this rose tattoo on her back. And I was like, huh, And I was like, I'm interested in that. That looks interesting. What is that? And then I'm glad actually what had happened was I got stuck on an airplane flight and I was stuck in Phoenix on a layover, which is good because that's all I had was that book. And the opening segment of that book is everything I hate in frickin' high fantasy. I swear. Joe was first in this line and had two sons, Tim and Jerry, and Tim fought in this war. And oh God,
Lord.
But I was stuck on a plane and I was stuck in Phoenix and they were laying me over because my dad had this brilliant idea of saving money by getting a flight that was Denver to Houston via Phoenix. So I was like, I don't care because I didn't. I love airplanes, so I'll hang out on the plane and just enjoy the airplane.
Good old Sky Harbor in Phoenix.
Right, but they didn't let me off the plane, so I couldn't go into and the plane was overheating on the tarmac. So yeah, it's just like this horrible moment of everything you hate in a flight through Phoenix. So they wouldn't let us off the plane. They wouldn't, because they were just going to turn us around, and then they didn't. So I had like 3 hours in this plane just sitting there while they just gave me, Coke after Coke after Coke to keep us cool. They were like going through with the cart and just giving everybody whatever they wanted to drink that was non-alcoholic.
I was going to say, alcohol, please.
Yeah, they didn't. I wasn't drinking alcohol at the time anyway, so I don't know whether you could get alcohol or not because I didn't care. All I was drinking was Coca-Cola. So I just kept drinking a zillion Cokes, and that was fine by me. I didn't care. And then I read this book. This was the 90s, so this was before having your phone on you was a thing. But yeah. I need to find my comments. Where are my comments? There they are. That's how to do it. Click the comments button. All right, Elio 8.
Man, I miss the 90s.
Sometimes I miss the 90s too. I gotta admit, we don't have any music.
I only miss the 90s because I was a kid in the
90s. You young and you.
So it's actually just me miss being a kid.
That's fair. I mean, on the same token, that's why I kind of miss the 80s. Right? I mean, the 80s to me feel like they were so simple and easy. But it's only because I didn't know how rough life was. You know what I mean? Like how many things you had to track and how much stuff you had to do. Because I'm sure that when my kid grows up, he'll be like, man, I miss the 20s.
Yeah,
I'll be like, me. Like the 20s were kind of hard, man. You're like, no, they weren't. They were easy. That's what my dad always did too. He was like, I miss the 50s. He's like, you thought the 80s were easy, man. The 50s were super easy. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's as easy as you think it was,
It's like, I'm sure the 90s weren't as easy as I thought they were.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just miss being a kid. Oh man, I wish I was still fucking a freaking kid.
I am reading. Okay, so kid is, yeah. Well, I think it's all about being a kid.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I mean, I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, I was looking for cars because in a few years I'll be in the market for another car because my car is a lease and it's a 5-year lease. So at some point we're going to have to do something about that car, and I think it's 2025 where I'm going to have to return it. And honestly, the electric has been so good and so cheap to operate that we're going to probably buy another electric instead of getting another gas car. But I was looking around and I was like, well, what I'd really like to do is get an all-wheel drive Tesla, with a dual motor. And I've been thinking about that, and I was looking around and poking around on it, and I was like, they're all still, even the dual motors from 2018 or 2019 are still 34K. And that's a lot of money. And then I was like, I could ask Dad. No, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, I think the biggest problem is somewhere along the line, you realize you're on your own. Whatever resources you've got are yours. And that's it, you know? Well, so we're thinking that he will inherit the Leaf that we just bought, because the Leaf that we just bought has the 20 kilowatt hour battery in it, so it only has a range of about 70 miles, which means that he'll be stuck, can't go very far. We kind of like that plan. And then Maya will get a newer car of some sort. The problem is she really likes the look of that Leaf. And so I think really what's going to happen, and Maya's not thinking necessarily this way, but I think what'll really happen is we'll buy him another 2015, 16, 17 era Leaf before the retcon change, which has a 20 kiloamp battery. And then we'll pull the Blue Leaf's battery pack out and replace it with a 65 kiloamp battery or kilowatt hour. And when that happens, then we probably, that'll increase the range of that Leaf to 250 or 300 miles, which would be fine. That gets you anywhere in the Denver metro in a day, and it's fine. We might have to change out the Chatamo charger too, because I think they put the low wattage charger in it, which is silly. So anyway, Well, and I mean, here is the reality of this one. Once we've done a battery swap on Mariah's car, then I can leave it up to the kid to drive down to Aaron Holdaway's place in the Springs and help Aaron swap out his battery pack if he wants to do that. Because legitimately, electrics aren't going away. They're easier to maintain, they're easier to run. They don't have as many parts. They're so much better in so many different ways that the only problem with them is the battery packs. So being able to swap out a battery pack, the motors, because the motors don't run at 475 degrees Fahrenheit, the electric motor will last forever. Like literally last forever. They'll need a brush change out the brushes at 1,000,000 miles. So he could technically get this electric car and drive it for the rest of his life, technically speaking. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that pieces will start to break down in the like the bearings of the wheels and stuff like that at some point. But that's my thought is like, I mean, but the truth of the matter is learning how to swap a battery pack on an electric, that's going to be the big thing, because you're not going to need to swap the motors. Those motors will be fine. He'll hit 1,000,000 miles, and that'll take what, 15 years, 20 years, maybe 30 years, 1,000,000 miles. Right? Because I mean, we do roughly about 10,000 miles a year on average. The average American, 10 to 15,000 a year. So I mean, like, thinking about that, you know what I mean? Like,
then he could give it to his kid.
Yeah, your mileage may vary, but I mean, the thing about electric cars that people aren't seeing is, people keep comparing electric cars to gas cars, and they just aren't. This is an entirely different creature. I mean, people keep doing well, it still costs as much in resources. I'm like, yeah, but you're going to keep an electric provided you don't break it. You can keep that electric for literally 30 or 40 years, and it can be your daily driver. So, I mean, there's nothing that says you can't. Yeah, I mean, because the motor is not going to give out for 1,000,000 miles. So, you can sit there and talk about the resources and how digging up battery whatever is just as bad for the environment. Oh, I noticed that people keep bringing up like lithium mines, and nobody talks about oil fields.
Because of ignorance.
That won't be a problem for much longer, Bob. I mean, legitimately, there's a company that has already figured out how to make batteries out of salt water. It's just that they're too big right now. They're too big to put in the cars, so they're working on shrinking them. But salt water, I mean, like, we've got an ocean, so that's not going to be a big deal. The technology is there. It's the size they're working on at this point in time. And as we all know, micronization doesn't take that long for us to figure out. So, I mean, like, for example, the saltwater batteries right now weigh in at like 200 kilograms for the packs, as opposed to the 100 kilograms. Yeah, strip and pit mining do totally leave major scars. As someone who owns an oil field, that's salted earth. I mean, my oil field is toast. Nothing will grow there for 100 years. Nothing lives there. That stuff is nasty. And Texas is totally, micronization, like micronizing your Zentradi. That's where I was going. Texas is totally all oil fields. That's all Texas is. It's just a bunch of oil fields. So, I mean, yeah, strip mining lithium is brutal, but it's also like 2 square miles of brutal. Whereas oil fields are thousands of square miles of salted earth. And nobody talks about that. Nobody says anything. My grandfather was born on the land that we own. and his house is gone. The house he was born in is gone. The planted fields that they were farming when he was born, those are all gone. Everything's gone. It's just a big open barren field with pumps on it. And I mean, it's just like, ugh. And the byproducts of all of that stuff that's been treaded on since 1934.
Plus, shale leaves huge swaths of land untenable.
Yeah.
Barren.
I mean, it does. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that it's good that we field strip. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't stop field stripping. I'm just saying that when people talk about how much damage lithium mines do, it's two or three square miles. Whereas we don't discuss the fact that thousands of miles of Texas and even here in Colorado is just land, empty land. It's unusable. So, I mean, it's not like oil's better. In fact, kind of look at it and go, well, 2 square miles is better than 1,000 square miles, you know. Especially since this is the big problem with electrics, so it's not going to last forever. They're going to fix it. Whereas there's nothing you can do about a gas car. They still have to use gasoline. It's not like you can run a gas car on, you know, Jello or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's no alternative. It needs something explosive in the combustion chamber. Right now, well, I guess you could probably come up with something different if you had a different fluid.
No, it's
You know,
oxygen.
yeah, if we had a fluid that we made, I guess you could do that.
Jet fuel uses oxygen.
Yeah, I mean, like some kind of liquid oxygen thing that's not requiring it to be frozen.
I still want to run my vehicle on cooking oil.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you could figure out a way to make, you know, like unstable water. That actually isn't a bad idea. Unstable water. You know, it's just hydrogen and oxygen. Yeah, less, because I mean, water is the most explosive thing. It's just that it's not. You know, it's 2 atoms of hydrogen, which is super explosive, and 1 atom of oxygen, which is a catalyst. You know, like, that should theoretically, water should be just super explosive, and it isn't. So if you made like unstable water, you know, if you could figure out a way to make it so that it was unstable, so that it would burn, the byproduct of burning it wouldn't be carbon either. Huh. And then guys like, that's an idea, and then like completely goes back to drawing, and then like 5 years later somebody's like, we made unstable water, and guys like, damn it, I could have been rich. I will add it though to the list of weird things that exist in the. Yeah, but the byproducts of burning burning water would be water. Right? I mean, like, that'd be a byproduct. It would make steam. Because you can't make something from elements that aren't already there. So it's already oxygen and hydrogen. So the thing, all you're going to be doing is rearranging its chemical structure. That's not bad. I like this plan. This is a good plan. I have created stuff. Now I've got to go back to work. And David's back.
Am I back?
You're back now. Lost you, man.
Oh, shoot.
Yep, hydrogen's great. Its storage sucks.
You know, we
Warning.
can get all the energy we need from the singularity. I don't know why we just don't go that route.
Right? Exactly. Put the stupid singularity out there and fix everything.
Man, would it fix everything.
Warning. Anatomically naked 3D models.
I mean, just the thought of having over 200 trillion, quadrillion gigajoules of energy at any second. Man, that sounds real good. How far you getting?
Yeah, now I want to know too.
I mean, we use deceased animals from a bygone era as fuel right now, so.
You're not wrong.
So instead, if we could use the gravitational pull of a singularity, that'd be nice. Hey, all
Yeah.
these ships are piloted or have a singularity at their core. A small one, but all the ships do.
Trying to find a pose close so that I'm at least remotely close.
And I know someone's gonna bring up antimatter. That's too unstable.
Yeah, well, not that bad. George has decided, of course, to take over my chair. Because he's George. George again.
Also agree with the nuclear reactors in cars. What kind of cell phone are you getting today?
Yeah, Brent, what kind of cell phone you getting? Inquiring minds want to know.
Isn't 0 point like too hypothetical though?
No, you're sitting.
Like there's no case out there that has zero, like a zero anomaly.
OnePlus Nord N20. I hope you know what he's talking about because I have zero clue.
I don't know either. I don't know what a OnePlus Nord is. But it's 5G.
Well, they don't have the ability to create a lot of things.
Yeah, but how would you go about creating 0-point energy? That's my question. We know how to make antimatter, and we know how to store antimatter. We just don't have the capability of making antimatter. We know what a singularity is. We theoretically know how to create a singularity. We're talking about antimatter? Or is antimatter just a theory too? Good questions. Good questions. To the particle accelerator, yeah, right? You can store it in plasma, but we can't. Plasma is too unstable to store. But you I think you put like an envelope of plasma around antimatter, and you can store antimatter. We don't know how to stabilize plasma enough to store it in any form. That's my too much science for the day, Todd.
I like that you're dealing with too much science for the day, though. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I can't have these conversations at work, so.
That's what we're here for, man. That's what we're here for.
Nobody at work knows what a singularity is. I brought up the idea of mining the accretion disk of a black hole the other day. People looked at me like I was crazy.
Well, because, I mean, to be fair, that is kind of crazy. Things that are moving there are moving really fast. So, you better be a good pilot. Just saying. Just saying. Boy, you're having trouble today, aren't you?
I guess so. Man. I don't know what is up with my connection. If I drop out again, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll keep letting you back in forever.
Well, I'll be going at 10:30 anyway, so I gotta help my mom clean the house.
Sounds fair to me. Yeah, Bob's saying it's very expensive to get stuff from the accretion disk. He knows because he played it in a role-playing game once. What was it that I did yesterday? It was like I was talking to somebody, and I was like, "Oh, I know what it was." I was talking to my friend Alex because we were on our walk, and I was like, I was griping about the fact that nobody uses percentile dice for role-playing games, which, like, for GURPS would have been horribly useful because it's generic role-playing. So would have been extraordinarily useful, but instead they went with 3d6, which cinematically is cool, but isn't as straight up. And so it's one of those things that's like, I get it, but I hate the fact that they don't use percentile anymore for things. And so I was like going through this whole thing, and I was talking about how for Bellatrix Rising, I have been pretty much designing my characters like they are character sheets. So I've been building them with sort of these, they've got skills, and their skills are already set up in a certain way. And it wasn't intentional, but it's the way my brain works. And I was like, so at some point, I intend to make a role-playing game for Bellatrix Rising. That's the intention. I've built so much world. There's so much world building out here. It'd be a shame to waste it. So I'm going to make a Bellatrix Rising role-playing game. Well, I'm also making a Bellatrix Rising card game, tactical card game, like Magic. And I was like, I'm already linking all three of these together so that, if you look up Li Chang, the Li Chang card would fit to some degree in the role-playing game. And I was like, I should just make a role-playing game, because at the time I was like, I should just, because he was saying, you could just use Orc for it, since now Orc is open source and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, it's not a bad idea, but I should just make my own video or my own role-playing game system. And then I paused and I realized just how totally arrogant that sounded. So then I added, because of course I've read a ton of role-playing game books, so obviously I'm an expert. So anyway, that was a long story to say. I was just saying the same thing to Bob, where, Bob's played a role-playing game, so he knows everything about mining and accretion. This is kind of silly because, of course, that's not exactly what he was saying. It's not what he was saying at all, but it's just the way I totally heard it in my head. It was funny as all get out. That was funnier in my head, I'm sure, than what you guys actually are dealing with. But that's right.
If it makes you feel bad, I'm laughing on the inside.
I know that a lot of people like the bell curve, but I was thinking about that whenever you're talking about, okay, so if you were to say, take Joe Average, right? Joe Average has a driving skill of 50%, right? He's got a 50% chance of doing the right thing on a very hard thing, like the hardest level maneuver. He's got a 50% chance. Yes, I was just having fun at your expense, Bob. My apologies. So, 50% chance of screwing up a difficult maneuver, right? I'm a driving instructor with a lot of experience driving. one would say that I probably have a 75% chance of success on a very complicated maneuver. My sister took Secret Service driving training, where, the idea is to get the president out of harm's way as fast as frickin' possible. And so she, I would say, would have 85% chance of succeeding in a very, very complicated maneuver. So I'm like, that's easy to assess in an objective way. My sister has taken training in this area. Even though I'm a driving instructor and I would consider myself better at driving than Joe average because I know how a car operates, still not better than my sister, who actually took the specific training for it.
I've taken offensive driving courses as a paramedic.
Yep. So you probably actually have a better skill rating than I do as far as driving goes.
I don't know. I'm a pretty terrible driver.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about, it's people are shooting at you and you have to get the vehicle out of there with the least amount of damage, stuff like that. Odds are good. I could do it just fine. But you probably would be better at it because you've taken offensive driving for driving the bus.
Driving the bus.
Why do they call it a bus?
It kind of looks like one.
Okay.
I don't know. Why are you putting this on my shoulders?
I don't know. Because you drove a bus.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm guessing, because it kind of looks like one.
Well, it's part of the story. So then David and all of the guys get in the bus. I don't know why they call it a bus. And then they drive out to Sterling. That's part of the story. So I have to every time say, they get into the bus. I don't know why they call it a bus. It's just.
Do they ask why is it called a bus?
No, I offer that. I offer the I don't know why they call it a bus. But I figured since I don't know, I'd ask you. And since you don't know, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't know why they call it a bus.
I have no idea why you call it a bus, but it's okay. I don't need to know. Maybe a fish of any sort. I know I have other animals besides this.
All right, well, I'm taking off. I'll see you guys later.
Laters, dude. Thanks for joining me.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I like percentile for challenges. The other thing I think is funny is there are all these specialized attack stuff, and I don't know why that's not a skill. You should have your strike skill and your ranged skill. I mean, there once was a game which was like throwing and stuff like that. But I feel like that's still ranged, right? And I feel like a strike skill is your skill when I take my fist and I hit you in the head with it, you know? And then a range skill is an intelligence skill, right? Because I need to know, even with a weapon, I need to either lead you or I need to adjust for the angle of the planet, gravity, things like that, wind. It's all that's all intellectual. So yeah, that's all percentile. That seems like a percentile thing. Like for me, I have a pretty solidly awesome bow and arrow skill. Like with a bow and arrow, it's a specialization, but I can actually shoot pretty well with a pistol as well, you know? So originally, when I was building cards for, I need a fish. Where's my fish? Why don't I have fish? Don't I have like fish somewhere? When I was building the original game for the card game for Bellatrix Rising, I had PSIM, which stood for physical, social, and intellectual. And I figured those were your three main attributes, right? You have your physical attribute, which is strength and dexterity and things like that. Then you have your social attribute, which is how well you interact with other people and influence other people. And then you have your intellect attribute, which is how well you read books and, you know, how well you memorize facts and things like that. And how well you can cognitively process. But if you think about the way we humans operate, we tend to be one of those three types of person. We're either the physical guy, that's the guy that did like a billion martial arts and stuff like that. And every so often, you'll get people who are strong in all three. I think Alex is strongest in physical and social. His intellectual is behind, but by behind, it's not. I'm not saying he's dumb. He's just his intellectual level is of the three the weakest, but all three of them are pretty high. Right? And I'm pretty high on the intellectual and social, but my physical is complete trash. It's like, right? That was my dumb stat. But you could see it in like the saves would be in there too. Your physical would be, how much damage can I punch you with before you get killed? And I think it'd be, so I'm like looking at that going, if you were to do this in units of whatever, you'd end up with, for example, I'm kind of looking at this. I want a fish. Why can't I get a fish? I know I have a fish. I just don't know what happened to my stupid animals directory. Oh, thanks. Never do that again. What are you doing? Animating. That's what it's doing. I have a cat, and that's all I've got is this cat. I'm like petting cats. That was bizarre and weird, Daz. I don't want you to ever do that again. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about this. I'm kind of like, those are all just people. I was like thinking about the way that it just kind of sets up. It's like, literally no other animals. I know I had a snake and all kinds of stuff at one point. Not sure what happened to all of these things. I'm not sure I have a dolphin, so I'm kind of doing the don't want to search for dolphin because then it'll come up with nothing. Because I could take a shark in this instance. Yeah, the maquettes are revolting. Fine. I'll just have to manually draw it. Jeez. Relying on my actual artistic skill. What's the world coming to? Anyway, just so everybody here knows, I intend to make a role-playing game at some point in time on Bellatrix Rising that will fit with the card game. So the card game, whatever numbers Chang has in the role-playing game, will 1-to-1 ratio connect to the card game, so that her numbers on the card will match her numbers as a role-playing character. Something that I have always wanted to do and see, and I've never gotten to see it. The black role playing game was, or the black card game that I had done at one point in time, always had characters that could do challenges in the game as part of the game. So the game was all about completing challenges, so that it wasn't necessarily Bob versus Guy on the table like Magic is. It could logically be Bob versus Bob and Guy versus third challenge or whatever. So, and I like that a whole lot better because I'm over trying to kill Bob, sort of thing. Yeah. Well, that's what started it. So Star Trek CCG did not do what I wanted it to do. My buddies and I were playing Star Trek CCG in the 90s, and it was not as cool as it should have been. It should have been far cooler. It should have been a whole lot better than it was. And it wasn't. It was not cool enough. And my buddies and I would play it, and actually we got into it so much that one of my friends got hired on at Decipher and ended up moving to Virginia and staying with them through the role-playing game aspect. But there were limitations to the mechanics of Star Trek CCG, which is what started me doing Black in 1998, which Black is in Into the Black, was the name of my card game. And then I have already built all of the mechanics for the game. The game already exists and all the mechanics exist. What was missing was, and the mechanics have even been play tested. What was missing was lore. There was no lore. Now I've connected it to Bellatrix Rising. There's lore galore. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I have a lot of lore that can go into this now. So anyway, so anyway, I'm reading through the section here to see what background we have here. That's all right. I'll reach down, kind of single finger, concentrate, and then right? Like, but you think about it, it would be so easy. If you have the hardest task, you rate these from easy to hard, right? Hardest task. You are, I don't know, cooking, right? If you want to cook normal food, right? Normal food will give you a plus 20 to your roll. So if your roll is average and you have a 50, then you have to roll a 70 and under, right? That means you have a 70% chance of cooking normal food without a problem. But if you want to make a souffle, that's a very hard thing. So you have to roll 50 and under, or something like that. It's very simple, And as a chef, everything shifts. So you take your skill, and a very easy is, let's say, plus 50, right? Or plus, let's say plus 40 is very easy. Very easy is plus 40. So your target for this very easy thing is, because you're making mac and cheese, your target is 50 plus 40, so 90. So you have to roll 90 or under on percentile. The odds of you burning mac and cheese are pretty slim, right? But if you've never turned on a stove before and never cooked, your default to it would be like 10. Still very easy, gives you a 50% chance you'll do it right? And if we take that and directly relate it to the skills that we've got in our existing skill tree, the white level would be like 25. And then yellow is 30. And then orange is 40. So all of those awards that we were just seeing, we were just talking about all the awards that the character had, each color level would represent a different percentage on your percentile dice. And we are done. It's easy. It's already put in, It's already plugged in. The system's already plugged in. Because the idea I was originally doing was setting this up so that each one of my characters could easily be plugged into a role or to a card game. So I don't want it to be complex, because if it's complex, you can't fit it on a card. You need to be able to fit it on 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Right? Lift into the feet. I've been waiting for him, but where? So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, my thought is that this makes it easy for us to invent new skills. You know? And I had already set up the system to be each level of skill is 10,000 hour or 10,000 hours or whatever that is somewhat bogus, but at least a good concept, right? So yeah, white is 10,000 hours and yellow is 20,000 hours and orange is 30,000 hours, etc., etc., etc. So uh, so I think they're on a boat. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like connecting all those pieces together so that they all work in the same universe would be seriously useful. All right. I'm going to put seaweed on him because I think that's funny. I'm just doing this so I'll remember that I have seaweed to put on this guy. Yeah, I don't know whether because that was James's argument too was that, but if you think of black belt as a mastery level, like, well, I don't know, if you think of black belt the way it was originally designed, the dan, each shodan and nidan and sandan and stuff like that, that's first degree, second degree, third degree black belt. And those are not supposed to be achievable. They're not supposed to be complicated. So that's not supposed to be a difficult process. If I can have my seat back because somebody's left it. So, all right. They're not supposed to be, difficult. It's supposed to be, do you have the concept down? So, hang on real quick. I need to look something up. So, yeah, I know. You're fine. You're fine, my friend. I don't think you're arguing anything. I'm just saying I'm looking up selkies. They apparently look like seals, sort of. I say that because the character that we are drawing over here is a selkie. So there's that. And I don't know. Mm-hmm. One of the things I really like about the Star Trek Adventures is their scene-based setups. So the whole thing is based like a scene. So we enter into a scene. There are challenges in the scene that the character must accomplish, and stuff like that. So I am flipping through paper or pictures here of selkies. This is their first time meeting this character visually. So anyway, my thought was, the more you can do my child was marked tardy. It's probably due to the fact that he left it frickin' whenever this morning. Oh yeah. I mean, the thing I really like about it is that it is there's not much of a chin. Excuse me. The thing I really like about it, as far as system goes, is that it's not heavy. It's not crunchy. I like crunch a little bit, but I don't like it a whole lot because most of the time that's more math than I can handle. This cell queue is much better than Cats. We're gonna watch it again. Maybe we should do this. Maybe I go all the way up. So. Yeah, they added way too much crunch. But if you had it as a strictly, especially since every role playing game that I've seen is really based around the concept of there being a target to shoot. And I feel like if you made combat an equal to investigation or to um, asking questions or to whatever, and made it all made it all equal. So it doesn't matter what it is, then your system isn't looking for combat per se. Um, and so I'm kind of thinking that'd be kind of cool is if we could make it so that the system was independent, you know, not really set up. Does he have gills? Would he have gills? I don't know. Right. So, I mean, that's one of my thoughts. Is that if you had um, give him more of a bulbous nose, that way he's cuter. Because then she's going to want him to be part of the story from now on. So, give him the ability to be adorable. Otherwise, people are going to be like, he's too gross. I don't like him. You know, because he's half human, half Selkie. Anyway, so yeah, that was my thought. Is that if we were to talk about a setup where you have a triumvirate of primary skills that dictate how things work. Um, like if you had average strength, or let's say you have average intelligence but above average strength, you can use that as a reroll. Um, there's a lot going on in this story. You don't have to read the book. There's a lot going on. But so like let's just make a open the door is a skill, right? You enter the scene, you have to open the door. Somebody has to open the door. The door has a challenge level of +5. I'm just making up numbers, but like 1 is really easy and 5 is really hard or whatever. And you don't know that. So you walk up and you use the open the door skill, right? So you roll your dice thinking you need to get a 90 or less. You roll a 70. And I say, oh, the door doesn't open. You're like, what? Right? Because the challenge, the GM doesn't need to tell you what the challenge is on it. I just set the target challenge to be there prior to entering the room. Right? So I set the challenge to that, and there you go. And now you're dealing with what? So then you can re-roll, but this time apply your physical strength modifier, which gives it a plus, let's say, 10. I'm just making up numbers, but you're strong, right? So you're applying the strength modifier to it. So now you can re-roll it. You can try it again. And this time you manage to break the door because it happens, whatever. Yeah, you do succeed the challenge. Right. But it has an unintended consequence. I think that would be a good, one of the things that happens in the Modifius system that I really like is threat versus, help me out here, Brent. What do you get? The players get momentum. Threat versus momentum. Right? Congratulations, you turned the door into a jar. Threat versus momentum. With momentum, on our side, we get momentum as players because it's every time you try to do something that's good, you gain momentum. So you get an extra dice to roll. If you do something against it, the GM gets threat, an extra dice to roll on his side. I don't know if I necessarily like pitting the GM versus the players, but I do like the idea of an opportunity for your opposition. You know what I mean? Like you adjust this thing, and if you don't beat it by X amount, or if you let's say that the challenge just got jumped to 90 and you roll a 90, that's then there's an opportunity for something to go bad. So I'm just spitballing here, but I can't. The problem is I don't want it to be too complicated. I don't want, if you roll a 20 and it's the alternating moon of whatever, and the beetle bops are boopty boopting and neepty deepty. I want it to be relatively easy. It could just be by under 10. If you are under 10 away from the target number, something bad happens. So, the target number is 50, right? That's an average. Your target number is 50. If you roll under 50, you succeed. But if you roll 4250, something unintentional is going to happen that's probably not positive, right? So under 10, same thing. If your target number is 90, but you roll 89 or 81 to 90, it still succeeds, but with some unintentional consequences, So, and there has to be a term for that, but yeah. Black cards have a 10-sider in the upper right-hand corner for random things. So randomness is built into the black card system, the card decks. I picked that up from a Star Wars game that was out a long time ago, where they had a randomizer on the cards. And of course, in Black's world, the randomizer isn't. It's a card game, so the randomizer means something. But I think so too. I think we could just make it, if you succeed, but if you get within 10 of the success rate, so 10 under. So I mean that gives you, even if it's 90, 89 to 90, or 81 to 80 to 90 would be, you still succeeded. So I mean, okay, so it's easy. The easy thing means that your 50 skill, you're still going to be able to accomplish it. Cooking mac and cheese is 99, right? It's super, super simple. There's only really a 1% chance you'll fail, right? So it's, it's easy to do that. It's a simple one. But, and this is the other thing about adding your intelligence bonus in. I wonder if you could do something carefully. Like, say I take care, and it takes 2 turns, but you can apply your intelligence bonus, or you can apply your social bonus, or you can apply your physical bonus. That's probably what you do. Take care means that it takes more time, but you can do it. Right? And let's write some of this stuff down before I forget it. I am successfully drawing and doing drawings things. I feel like I'm okay with doing this. So it's percentage. And plus, or rather, there's a challenge in the scene. The plot, if you will, of the scene. Set the challenge rating. Easy equals plus, let's say 49. That way, if you've got an average, which is 50, you've got effectively, you'll be rolling a 99, right? And then moderate equals plus, say, 30. And then challenging plus 20. And then hard is 0. I mean, look at where we are. I'm not complaining. We're doing great. We're doing just fine. I'm not worried. I just want to make sure we write all this stuff down because this is good stuff, right? No, I don't. Squirrel. Legit, there's a squirrel out there. I'm just saying that there legitimately is a squirrel out there. Sometimes. So challenging hard. Cross it out because it's not like we don't have the undo button. Right? This way it's this way it's got, and in fact there probably should be a minus 49, which is epic. Right? That way it makes sense and it's balanced on either side. So, and moreover, this becomes a 2, this becomes a 3 in the card game, and this becomes a 5, right? Where this becomes a minus 1. Maybe this should be balanced. I don't know. And this becomes a minus 2, and this becomes a minus 3, minus 5. I'll figure it out. I'll fuss with it. But so we set a scene, and the scene, the PCs have to accomplish a thing. What do they have to accomplish in this scene? And how they do it can come about in a number of different ways, right? But then I had the word, which was careful. Take the root skill bonus. Add it in. Takes, say, 3 times as long. So if your average intelligence, you have a bonus of 0. If you're above average intelligence, you have a plus 20 or plus 2, depending on whether you're in the card game or not. Right? And so the plus 2, then you apply that, and it becomes a straight up thing. What's the word? Says Alex. Let's do 11, 20. Still in stream. No. Anyway. Then we have, of course, threat or whatever, which is within 10 of challenge. Unintended consequences. There we go. Good enough. Take a hike. Bird is the word. Alrighty. I'm out of here, guys. I'm OOH. We've done our bit for King and Country. I'm going to go for a walk. I will see you all at the rendezvous tonight. And that rendezvous would be here. No, tonight's Friday, isn't it? Holy crap, where did this week go? Oh my goodness. I will not see you tonight. You guys can all just go do your weekend things. So there. I'll see you all Sunday. Until then, as always, thank you for all being here, Brent and Bob. And I know we had a newbie here at one point early on, Dash UIB, who was new to the channel, and I hope we didn't scare them off by being particularly weird. But hey, maybe we did. If so, sorry, man. I am. So I will see you all then on Sunday, and keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.